Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the market, and I'm going to use a military term called the beachhead. This comes from Normandy when the invaders had to land somewhere on the beach before they were able to go further inland and to take over the country. You can't take the whole country at once. You got to start somewhere. So you have to find your least common denominator. Where is the place that can start using your product the best? For us at Luminaire, we realized that sepsis happens only in the emergency room and happens in hospitalized patients. While 80% of sepsis starts at home, everyone ends up in a hospital. But here's the first lesson that I learned as a founder doctor: doctors don't pay for anything in the hospital. The payers are very different. It's either the CFO of the hospital or it's an insurance company. In the medical world, there is a massive wall between the doctors and the payer, the hospital CFO or the insurance company. You might love the new fancy gizmo, but guess what? The CFO has 100 new fancy gizmos that 100 separate people want them to buy. It's never getting installed. So you'll hear investors ask about the TAM, the total addressable market, or the SAM, the sustainable addressable market. And usually startups throw out numbers in the billions. Don't get bogged down in the billions. Focus on unit economics. What do I mean by that? For our company, we realized that sepsis patients are in hospital beds. And so initially I thought I would charge per hospital bed. $1,000 per bed per year sounds like a good number. My business mentor heard this and said, Sarma, that sounds like a big scary number. Is there a smaller one? So I thought about it for some time and realized that there's actually a blood test on the market at that time that costs about $30 a test. It's about half accurate and wasn't so great. We decided we would charge less than a third of that price. I pulled a number out of the air, $8 per patient per day, and we decided to go try it out on a customer. It sounded a lot smaller, but in a 40-bed hospital, if you do the math, we actually ended up making 50% more revenue by quoting $8 a patient per day than charging per bed $1,000. We eventually ended up as a company generating over $9 million in revenue from the hospitals and from public health markets during COVID. But we had to be smart about pricing. We had to be smart about how we slice the pie. And the other thing is, you can't charge a different price to different customers because guess what? In the beginning, you might be able to do that, but after some time, everyone's going to find out and then they're all going to be mad. Several hospitals even have what is known as a most favored nations clause on their contract, which means whoever got the lowest price, you got to give that hospital that lowest price. Be careful about how you discount and be very clear about why you're discounting to a customer. Also, you need to be thinking about Abraham Maslow. Who was he? Well, he wasn't just a psychologist, he was a brilliant business mind. You can't sell someone gold plated golf clubs if they don't have food or a roof over their head. What does that mean? Well, most people need to have food, a place to stay and drink in order to be able to function at their jobs, in order to be able to have meaningful relationships so that they can go play golf with their friends. And then you can come and sell them golf clubs. If you're trying to sell golf clubs to a hospital that doesn't have food and drink, no one's going to buy your product. So most founders go after building gold-plated golf clubs, but you got to think downstream. What are the other needs my hospital has that, or my customer has, that is not being addressed today in the market? For us, it was pretty clear. We went to a hospital CFO and asked them what they care about. One of them told me, look, I care very much about sepsis, but if I don't pay the bills, the hospital doesn't stay afloat. So what I care about is length of stay. I care about readmissions. I care about ICU overstays. I care about lawsuits. I care about the premiums I pay for these lawsuits. So we came back and we positioned our product in a way that addresses the financial side of the problem. And that's how we found our first customer. We figured out who was willing to pay something for us to solve this pain for them in a manner that was economically feasible. If your software doesn't solve one of these survival problems, or if your medical device doesn't solve one of these base of the pyramid problems, you're selling golf clubs to a starving person. Find the bottom of the pyramid, and when you have, give a piece of the solution away for free for a limited period of time tied to a contract, tied to success metrics so that you can get paid. And we eventually ended up scaling to over 1 million patient provider interactions on our platform, producing a lot of good for a lot of people. After we captured the beachhead market, we scaled to over 1 million patient provider interactions because we stopped talking about better medicine and started talking about better outcomes. We started selling the answers and solutions to problems as opposed to just selling a widget. So capture the beach, solve the immediate financial and clinical pain, and then you can think about taking the rest of the hospital system by storm. So here's your homework for this video. Go find your hospital's annual report or talk to the head of the department. Find out what the biggest financial penalty was last year. Was it readmissions? Was it sepsis? Was it falls? Was it another core clinical indicator that Medicare has in place? There's your market. You're going to find your market by finding out where the pain is. Next time, we're going to be talking about funding, how I went from taking out 2 mortgages on my house to raising our first $1 million and eventually raising over a. And let's build something that actually helps people. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, subscribe, like, and share so that others can be helped. And I know that you want more content like this. Thanks again for listening.